But yesterday, we said this election, it should be told you that you take it over. I should just invite her. Letter of the members of the secretary of the committee who have changed your mind. That's what I put here. We should just follow it. Okay.
Yes, what of physically present?
Not to hard. Harder. Can
How many of them doesn't matter? 16, 12, 24 online. So that's 24.
can I call on the company secretary? Right? Huh? Oh, for your camera. Okay. Company secretary, can you please confirm if quorum has been formed? National anthem, please. May we all stand for the national anthem? May I ask someone at this meeting to give the opening prayer, please? Opening prayer, please.
Father, we thank you. Gathering today on our humanity. Bless you because you have made us to be a partaker of this year's meeting. Despite the situation we have found ourselves. Ask that you be with us as we commence our meeting. And we ask for progress, for development of our family. We ask, O Lord, for you to intervene in this difficult time so that everything in, we do their own thing. We ask that you help us so that this situation we find ourselves will be brought to control and we all be back to normalcy in our business. We pray all those who are now join us, whether by closing or not, Lord, we ask that, oh Father, we join our hands together, that we are going to see to the progress of our life, we are going to see to the development of our country, and we are going to grant us the grace to continue in this right direction that we are doing for our life. We pray, Lord, for you continue to guide us, you continue to lead us, and you continue to prosper all that we do. We ask for this in Christ.
Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to the 14th Annual General Meeting of the company, for which notices have been given to members of the company having the rights to attend and vote thereat, and all other persons entitled to receive such notices. I declare that a quorum has been formed as required by the company's Articles of Association, and I now declare the meeting open. We have shareholders, regulators, and other critical stakeholders who are present here either physically or by proxy or online through virtual devices. I most sincerely and humbly welcome you all. This is a trying time for all nations of the world as COVID-19 pandemic rages. Businesses have been altered, and means of livelihood for many homes are now negatively affected. The modus operandi for businesses is facing a new paradigm as physical and social contacts are now being curtailed. Our AGM today is being conducted in line with this new normal. Post-pandemic, businesses are not going to be as usual, as we are now compelled to adjust to this new reality. Zoom, Google Hangouts, GoToMeeting, Google Meet, Skype for Business, and other virtual communicating and teleconferencing technologies have become indispensable tools of conducting businesses. Business offices have been technically extended to our homes, as working from home is becoming a safe haven. Your bank has dimensioned the short and long-term implications of this pandemic to our business. I am assuring you that your bank has all it takes to sustain improved performances despite the lockdown occasioned by this COVID-19 pandemic. During the period of lockdown, our online channels were active to service our customers. We are working hard to improve and expand on these channels. The board and the management are proactive as planning for expansion of our online services was envisaged and included in the 2020 approved budget. The deployment made it very easy to render some services to our customers during the lockdown. As we face further challenges that this pandemic will bring, I am assuring you, our shareholders, that your board and the management are fully prepared to give all it takes to be profitable, get stronger, and become more resilient by returning year in, year out better performances. This is reflected in this year's proposed dividend of 3.5 kobo per share as against 3 kobo per share declared in the preceding year. The federal government of Nigeria, state governments, health authorities, and regulatory agencies have issued a number of guidelines and directives aimed at curbing the spread of COVID-19 in Nigeria. Particularly, Federal Capital Territory Administration, FCTA, prohibited the gathering of more than 25 people, while the CAC, Corporate Affairs Commission, issued guidelines on holding AGM of public companies by proxy. The convening and conduct of this AGM shall be done in compliance with these directives and guidelines. In the interest of transparency and wider participation, we sent links to our shareholders to join this meeting virtually. Many of them are already connected and therefore part of this meeting. In line with the approval given by the Corporate Affairs Commission, CAC, to hold this meeting by proxy, kindly note that we can only deliberate on ordinary business of the day. For the shareholders and other stakeholders who are attending virtually, kindly note that your devices are placed on mute to avoid background interferences. The host shall only unmute whoever has the turn to speak. You can express your interest to speak using the chat menu by sending only your full name and the subject you wish to speak on to the host only. You will be given time to speak in turns. Where necessary, the host shall unmute all. Also note that this meeting shall rely more on the shareholders and their proxies physically present for motions and related conduct of elections. This is an unusual time and unusual procedure. I crave your understanding and cooperation for the smooth conduct of this meeting. Thank you. Introduction of directors and the company secretary. Some of the directors are here present, while others are also joining us online. I will call the directors by their names. Please say hello to indicate your presence. Dr. Olabanjo Obaleye, MD CEO. Mr. Akin Arikawe, OON. Engineer Babatunde Olaleke. Mr. Dada Ademokoya. Mrs. Okwa Ene Iyana. Alhaji Abubakar Muhammad. Major General Ishaku Pena, retired. Finally, my humble self, Dr. Adeyinka Bibilari, the chairman of this meeting. The representatives of our external auditors, Aminu Ibrahim and Co., are also present with us online. Mr. Kunle Lasisi, FCA, the engagement partner. Please wave to the meeting to indicate your presence. Mr. Kunle Lasisi. Are you sure they can hear me? Okay. Thank you. Also joining us online are our regulators and the members of the audit committee of the company. It is my pleasure and privilege to call the representatives of the following institutions joining us online to signify their attendance by sending hello through the chat menu or use the wave icon to wave to the meeting. All the name of the institution. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC. CAC. National Stock Exchange, NSE. Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria. Mortgage Refinance. Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation. DIC. Family Homes Fund. Kodros Securities. Representatives of our registrar. African Prudential Registrars.
Yes, absolutely.
Is physically present. Taylor being here. The members of Statutory Audit Committee are also present online. Kindly say hello through the chat menu or use the wave icon to wave to the meeting. Name is called Mr. Franklin Akinyosoye.
I'm here.
Mr. Lawrence Wele.
I'm here. Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
Mr. Oweye Olusegun Emmanuel. To facilitate the smooth conduct of the meeting, I would like to explain that members present here have the opportunity to second each motion. Thereafter, members will be invited on the motion before votes are cast for or against. So therefore, request having been previously forwarded to all relevant parties and also appearing on page 3 of the audited reports, be taken as read by the meeting. Otherwise, the company secretary may be called upon to read out the notice of the meeting. Is there any objection to taking the notice of this meeting, which is on page 3 of the audited report as read? We also like to suggest the chairman's statement on pages 23 to 27 of the published annual report, having been previously circulated, be taken as read by the meeting. Is there any objection to this suggestion? Thank you. Voting rules. The members have a right to demand a poll on any vote. Next item on the agenda is to receive and consider the audited financial statements for the year ended 31st December 2019, together with the report of the directors, auditors, and the audit committee thereon. I believe that you have all received a copy of the annual reports and accounts of your bank for the financial year ended 31st December 2019. If you turn to pages 15 to 22 of the report, you will find the report of the directors, and with your permission, I will take those reports as read. Thank you. The original accounts and copies duly signed are available at this meeting for verification. I now call on the representative of our external auditors who has joined us online to read to the meeting the report of the auditors for the year ended 31st December 2019. These can be found from page 75 to page 79. The financial statements and the notes to it can also be found from page 82 to page 184. The auditors now have the floor to read the report to the meeting.
Good morning, gentlemen. Hello. Hello?
We can hear you.
Yes. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, shareholders.
Good morning, please.
Yeah. On behalf of Aminu Ibrahim and Co., the independent auditors, I read the report of the independent auditors to the shareholder. With the indulgence of the chairman and the members, I would like to paraphrase our full report, which can be seen on pages 75 to 79 of the financial statements. So I will read the first paragraph, which is our opinion, the second paragraph, and then the last paragraph. Our opinion. In our opinion, the audited financial statements give a true and fair view of the financial position of the Infinity Trust Mortgage Bank PSC as at 31st December 2019, and of its financial performance and its cash flow for the year then ended, in accordance with the International Financial Reporting Standards, Company and Allied Matters Act, the Bank and Other Financial Institutions Act, and the relevant circulars issued by the Central Bank. What we audited. We have audited the financial statements of the Infinity Trust Mortgage Bank, PSC, which comprised the statement of financial position as at 31st December 2019, and the statement of profit or loss, statement of the other comprehensive income, statement of changes in equity, and statement of cash flow for the year then ended, and notes to the financial statements, including a summary of significant accounting policies. The basis of our opinion is that we conducted the audit in accordance with international standard on auditing. Our responsibilities under those standards are further described in the auditor's responsibility for the audit of financial statements of our reports. We are independent of the mortgage bank in accordance with the Code of Ethics of Professional Accountants issued by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, and we have fully fulfilled our ethical responsibility in accordance with the code. We believe that the audit evidence we have obtained is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for our opinion. Which is the report on the other legal and regulatory requirements. The company allied officers and the banks and other financial institutions require that in carrying out our audit, we consider and report to the shareholders on the following matter. We confirm that we have obtained all the information and explanations which, to the best of our knowledge and belief, were necessary for the purpose of our audit. The mortgage bank has kept proper books of accounts so far as appears from our examinations of those books, and returns adequate for our audit have been received from the branches of the bank not visited by us. The mortgage bank statement of financial position and the comprehensive income are in agreement with the books of accounts. The information required by the Central Bank of Nigeria, Circular BSD/12004 on insider-related credits is disclosed in Note 38 to the financial statement. And lastly, there were no penalties paid for contraventions of the Bank and Other Financial Institutions Act during the year. Signed for Aminu Ibrahim and Co., dated 30th January 2020.
Thank you, Mr. Olabode.
Thank you.
I now call on the chairperson of the Audit Committee, Mrs. Okwa Ene Iyana, who is present online, to present the report of the Audit Committee to the members of the company. The report is on page 80. Mrs. Iyana.
Thank you. The report of the Audit Committee. In compliance with the provisions of Section 359, subsection 6 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, Cap C20, LFN 2004, we confirm that the accounting and reporting policies of the bank were in accordance with statutory requirements and agreed ethical practices. In our opinion, the scope and planning of both the internal and external audits for the year ended 31st December 2019 were adequate. We have also received, reviewed, and discussed the audit report on management matters and were satisfied with the responses thereon. The committee reviewed the audit report on related party transactions and are satisfied with their status as required by the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. The committee also reviewed the IFRS disclosure requirements and is satisfied with the disclosures thereon. The internal control system of the bank is also being constantly and effectively monitored. Dated and signed 29th January 2020. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Iyana.
Thank you.
I shall be pleased to answer any questions which you may have on the financial statements and reports on pages 82 to 184 for the period ended 31st December 2019, which has just been presented. I now call for questions and comments on the financial statements. Please.
Mr. Chairman, it's very, very unfortunate that we have seen ourselves in these circumstances, which will never be changed. And it's a difficult moment and circumstances for some of us. And we strongly believe that it's a matter of time that Almighty God is ready to control so that commerce is ready. Mr. Chairman, this situation has gone from kind of human reflection because it has affected so many businesses in Nigeria and outside Nigeria. And actually, to go along the line of visual and technology. That has not been before, but as a company and a bank, we must be taking towards this direction. Therefore, that try to embrace technology and then also embrace the visual aspect of it. Mr. Chairman, the year under review is a difficult time and year. That we thank God for the proactive board and management of the bank, led by Every Self and the MD, Mr. Bajo, and his management staff, that they have been able to sustain the business and they are doing incredibly well. Mr. Chairman, they are not immune. That is number one, to what is happening. Then we look forward to you, Mr. Chairman, to give us the direction that the bank is going to take post-COVID, because things we have to change, whether we like it or not. But before that, Mr. Chairman, is to commend you and the board on page 5 for the dividend that you have given to us from 35 kobo, from 3 naira 50 kobo to 3 naira 3 kobo to 3.5 kobo. Mr. Chairman, it's very commendable thing because it's a difficult time. And when you see a bank that is giving something to you, you have to appreciate. So for us as shareholders, we want to thank the board and management for this privilege of giving to us this dividend. We know, Mr. Chairman, that this time calls for a lot of liquidity issues. For us as shareholders, we believe that this will help us to solve some of the liquidity challenges that we'll be experiencing. And without the pleasure with you, Mr. Chairman, to see what you can do to always reduce the payment date. You know, we expect that once we are giving you the concept now, we should be able to, after the meeting, to receive our money. So we'll be looking forward to you, Mr. Chairman, to please consider that. And Mr. Chairman, one of the things going for this board is the attendance. Part of the issue of corporate governance is board attendance meeting. And when you check page 68 and 69 of the financial report, Mr. Chairman, you will find out that board members take high responsibility in attending the board meetings. And this shows their level of commitment. This shows their level of loyalty and dedication to the business of the bank. We want to commend you in this direction And we also urge that efforts should be made to address issues that are raised under the 73 of the board evaluation report. And when you go down there, the line, Mr. Chairman, one of those challenges that was raised by the is the issue of induction for board members. We must take absolute interest in developing, enhancing the skill of the board members. We want to commend the managing director for always coming forth to present his annual report and the financial to the public. We have seen how when they went to the NSC, and we have seen the path behind the figure. So it's a promising bank, and you can see on page 79 that no longer there was no penalty. A lot of banks have been charged penalty and institutions, but since the assumption of the MD, we have made it a point of duty to always go in line with time in presentation of the financial statement. Mr. Chairman, on page 84 is what I want you to see what can be done, because I said we need to be very proactive. The times are very difficult for us, but I want to know what the board is thinking in the direction of capitalization. We need to look at a situation where we got if we check the line of 2 billion, and let's give us to position ourselves to greater challenges, because we are talking about capitalization of insurance company. Very soon, Mr. Chairman, we don't know what the Wonder Man CBN will bring out in terms of issue of mortgage industry. And I understand it's already out, but what are we doing to be in the front line? What are we doing to position ourselves to these challenges that is coming from? Mr. Chairman, I'm also like to draw your attention on the need to give us your direction, as I've said, with COVID. To cushion the effects from us from the perspective of shareholder, we expect that government, through central bank and mortgage financing regulatory agency, to, as a matter of urgency, help work out palliative with the real estate industry in order to sustain investment and save millions of jobs and sustain the production of housing for low and medium income earners. You will discover that, Mr. Chairman, the challenges we are having now globally is the fact that this COVID has crippled so many businesses. So many sectors are suffering, and of course, the mortgage industry is not immune to it. And as such, every responsible government will try to protect industries, banks, airline, manufacturing sector, that need for adequate protection because they are the employers of labor. And if you don't protect them, a lot of jobs will be lost. And you can see what CBN quickly came out with when we discovered that banks want to sack their staff. Such is not good. This is a difficult time, and most of them are also earning income from that. So, government is hereby urged to intervene through stimulus and help this sector. Mr. Chairman, we also will employ government to also make it easy to obtain a registered title for development and the planning approval process in Nigeria. This will aid the manufacturing sector. Mr. Chairman, on a final note, Mr. Chairman, is to call on you and the board members that it's a difficult time, and to sustain this industry is for us to look at cost optimization. In whatever we are doing, we must now be able to match our revenue with our costs. Otherwise, we'll find it difficult to sustain our profitability. I want you to do as much as possible to ensure that no staff is sacked in your bank. Rather than sacking them, we can go by way of reduction of emolument. But to sack them will be very, very wrong, Mr. Chairman, and unhelpful to the economy. Remember, Mr. Chairman, that insecurity is prepared by unemployment. And so we must do our best, though it's very difficult, to continue to sustain the jobs of most of our staff. When commending you, Mr. Chairman, I want to tell you that shareholders are with you in body and spirit to ensure that we navigate throughout this period to a successful point. And by so doing, Mr. Chairman, anytime you call on us, when you are coming out for addressing the issue of capitalization, we'll be there for you. And we pray that you continue to sustain this dividend payment. We pray that the bank will sustain this growth in the asset base, and also that the bank will remain a pioneer and a firm that is dictating in the sector. Right now, Infinity Trust is the only bank in the mortgage industry that is still remaining floating and doing well. We commend you, and we ask that God will continue to sustain you. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you very much, Mr. Patrick. Is there any other comments? Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Professor Yasuke. Thank God for a day like this. I salute the courage of the company and the management for taking this practice opportunity to make sure that within the ambit of the law, that the trend to the this line to COVID-19. Thank you for taking this steps. Make sure everything is aligned. We have that page 5 of the annual report. That this will that very intensive performance under the past. The total asset of the company used for 10 billion and 192 to 20 just for 4 million 500 the gross earnings simple makes every investor very interested in looking at the awards which we find on the site today, it shows that we are organized. So at the today is not a day of speech making, so we have to take it into account. Fellow shareholders and members of the team, thank you and wish you the best. And believe that at the end of this program, all of us will be able to combine.
Thank you, Mr. Augustine. May I call on the MDCO to give replies to most of the questions raised by the shareholders? The MDCO, please.
Thank you, Mr. Patrick, and Mr. Augustine. As you know, alluded to, 2019 was a challenging year. And 2020 is far more challenging. Because nobody can say that there is something called COVID-19 and will not be worked into your closets. Businesses are witnessing very trying times. Households are equally feeling the pain, in fact, the more. You raise very critical points. I would like to address them one by one. Okay? We agree not to ensure that the capacity of our board is good. And we have training for our members every year. Thank you for everybody noting that we are not abiding institution. We comply to all rules and regulations as given to us by our regulators. We are working hard to ensure we show up and happy days. We understand the fact that this is not going to be as usual any longer. Even when we look at the $1 and naira rates, it's very, very imperative for us to look inward and see how we can move up our capital. We've been on this for about 2 years. We've been working with so many initiatives to get this done. But you agree with me that this is even not the right time to look for capital, as we might not be able to get good investors that will invest now. Maybe after the COVID, we'll be able to see them where the world is going to. But we're not resting. We are equally looking for investors, far and wide, institutional investors and private investors as well, to join us. I'm sure you all know the CBN correctness agenda for investors, which includes the banking institutions. We know the multiplier effects of ensuring there is demand is stimulated in the national sector. If demand is stimulated in the national sector, and if we not investors, we not look too far to invest. So the first thing for investors is to be sure that what is producing or what is investing is going to achieve results. And for people producing houses, real estate developers, what they need to know is that there is a ready buyer, vetting buyer of the houses. Once they know there is buyer of the houses, they will definitely continue doing it. And if you look at the CBN circular on this, that's validity for real estate. When that one will confirm all things. So that's result demand in the housing sector is. So increase the money in the housing sector is equally important for mortgage institutions to be assisted one way or the other. We are in a very difficult situation. There's no way we can go to the market and get enough capital that we need. So we are looking forward to the validity of CBN to ensure that the capacity of the institutions increase to stimulate demand that we needed close to the market. We're working a lot on cost optimization. We're not looking at laying off staff. We're looking at so many measures. If it becomes a skill to reduce the number of staff, that is nothing we can do because we can't take the target. We decide we should pursue cost optimization. How do we optimize the cost? When you know your workload has reduced, there is nothing we can do than to lay off some staff if it becomes a skill. For instance, if you have like 20 branches and you discover that the one profit, four out of these 20 branches are not profitable. So why are you keeping them? When close up the branches, what do you want to do? Unless there is evaluation that assists to ensure that we meet this cost of optimization also of rationalizing staff with better. But for now, it is part of options for not only Infinity, for many other institutions as well. And thank you, Mr. David. Nothing much to respond to you and to just say thank you for the observation to keep on the lighting all as well as us. And just as Chairman said in his opening remark, we are ready to give you achieve better results this year. Despite all odds.
Two issues. He asked about payments of dividends and he talked about government titles.
Once we get the approval of the AGM today, we'll move the money to our registrar and we'll send our registrar to pay the money.
Government title. Government to make it easy to obtain titles.
Yes, it is part of the requirement that the public accounting of the lands take before our regulator, the will administration. Government of government regulated for the liberty government. So we are exploring all avenues to ensure this bottleneck that is frustrating modern business and housing to live, affordable housing to live, is curtailed. You agree with me that it makes no sense. You want to buy a house and you need 50 million naira, you now need to pay like 3 million naira for perfection to government. It doesn't make sense. But for us to increase affordability, we have to look at revenue aspects and only look at various levels to reduce the interest rate for us to be able to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, MD, for very useful insight into most of the questions of the shareholders. There being no further comments, I hereby move that the audited financial reports, directors' reports, external auditors' reports, reports of the audit committee, and the audited financial statements for the year ended 31st December 2019, now laid before this meeting, be received and adopted. Can someone please second this motion? Thank you, Mr. Augustine. So noted. Are there any questions before this motion is put to the meeting? In the absence of further questions, may I call on those in support of this motion to indicate by saying yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
May I also call, thank you. Also call on those against, indicate by saying no. On the agenda, declaration of final dividend. Ladies and gentlemen, the directors are recommending a dividend of 3.5 kobo per every ordinary share, 50 kobo, held at the close of business, 31st December 2019. Approved. Total dividend to be paid shareholders financial year ended 4th December 2019 will be 145,965,600 naira Kobo only. I hereby move gross dividend 145,965,600 naira 20 kobo only in respect of the financial year 31st December 2019 to all shareholders registered in the books of the bank as at the closure of register on the 9th of March 2020. Hereby declared. Thank you, Mr. Patrick. Are there questions arising out of this motion? Would all those in favor of this motion indicate by saying yes?
Yes.
If anyone objecting to the motion, please signify by saying no. I declare the motion carried. To take the re-election of the 3 directors by a single resolution. Thank you. Thank you for your support and understanding. I hereby move that the reappointment of General Danladi Pena, retired, Alhaji Abubakar Mohammed, and Mrs. Iyana Okwa, who are retiring by rotation in accordance with the provisions of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2004, and who, being eligible, now offer themselves for re-election as directors, be considered and approved. Will someone please second the motion? Thank you. Are there questions arising out of this motion? Thank you all. Will all those in favor of this motion indicate by saying yes?
Yes.
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 Thank you. Would anyone objecting to this motion signify say no? I declare the motion carried. General Danladi Pena, retired, Alhaji Abubakar Mohammed, and Mrs. Iyana Okwa are now returned elected as directors. Appointment of auditors. The next business of the day, reappointment of external auditors. In accordance with Section 375, subsection 2 of CAMA,
We are going to educate.
What we only do is to fix the regulation of the external line section 2.
Auditor Financial Statement. The year ended 24 December 2019. Before this meeting, we received and adopted.
how many years is the appointment? Okay. So thank you. So noted. May I call on the MD to respond to that?
How many years? Okay.
Thank you. So noted. May I call on the MD to respond to that? Do we continue? Thank you. So noted. With section 375, subsection 2 of CAMA, I hereby move that Messrs. Aminu Ibrahim and Co. be reappointed as the company auditors for the year ending December 31st, 2020, and that the directors are authorized to fix the auditor's remuneration. Can someone please rise and second the motion? Thank you. Thank you. Please note it. Are there any questions before the motion is put to the meeting? Put the motion to the meeting. To those in favor of this motion, by say yes. Those against indicate by saying no. Hereby declare section 2 of Kama. I hereby move that Messrs. Amino Intel as the company auditors for the year ending December 31st. Members of the Statutory Audit Committee. That business of today, the election of the members of the Statutory Audit Committee of the company. Following good work done, the directors have reappointed Mrs. Oba Ellen Bizana, Mr. Arikawe ON, and Minister Dada Adeokuya to represent them as Statutory Audit Committee members to the next AGM. They are present here and online. Thank you. In accordance with Section 359, Sections 4, 5, and 6 of KAMA and the National Code of Corporate Governance, which indicates some members, the audit committee. Can you mute them all?
He doesn't know the person I should give you.
Of the audit committee to be knowledgeable in internal control processes, I hereby report that the following shareholders have been validly nominated by some of you as statutory audit committee members. Mr. Franklin Akiyosoye, Mr. Lawrence Wele, Mr. Oweye Olusegun Emmanuel. They are all present online. I will call them one after the other. Please, when you are called, say hello, announce your presence. Mr. Franklin Akiyosoye. Mr. Lawrence Wele, Mr. Oweye Olusegun Emmanuel. Thank you. Since we need three members have been validly nominated. Thank you, please. In the absence of no further questions arising from these, I will now put the vote to the meeting. I hereby call on those in favor of the appointment of Mr. Franklin Akiyosoye, Mr. Lawrence Wele, and Mr. Oweye Olusegun Emmanuel as shareholders representatives in the Statutory Audit Committee of your bank to indicate by saying yes. Thank you. Those against should also indicate by saying no. Thank you. I hereby declare that Messrs. Franklin Akiyosoye, Mr. Lawrence Wele, and Mr. Oweye Olusegun Emmanuel have been validly elected by the shareholders as members of the Statutory Audit Committee. This makes 6 members with equal representation from both the directors and the shareholders in line with KAMA. Thank you. Comments from members. The floor is now open for any observations, comments, and suggestions from members on any issue pertaining to the company.
this board have taken seriousness the shareholders. Because companies are easy to declare and then go back again and reduce
Morning. That is work.
the result of
Well done.
COVID
I want to look at what's happening.
The board
As you take Chukwu or look at you.
Number two is that, Mr. Chairman, we want to employ you that you should remain consistent. Government will not be able to do the shareholders will pray that with their support, we should be able to continue without this certificate environment. I believe that it takes only the strong to continue. So my comment is an encouraging word for you to tell you that we are all watching and we are seeing your performance and we want you to continue this right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, use the formal business of the annual general meeting. I declare the meeting closed. May I call on a member to say the closing prayer? Yeah.
I work. Just want to look around.
Thank you and wish the board a very nice business. We go back to
Why are you the one requesting for people?
go back and so that it's possible for people to go well. We give you a promise that we're going to be with you and God. Take care of us as we go back to our people still say more than the pandemic, not unnecessary community relations.
Sorry?
Amen. National anthem.
See, no good. Yeah.
Please, thank you, everybody online. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Bye, sir.
Bye.